These melodies.
Welcome to the Brilliana Show. I am Aaron True, 2010 MMA Reporter of the Year nominee, known for my hijinks in MMA, getting beat up by Ronda Rousey, Verdum, and Cyborg. I'm joined to my right by a reoccurring guest star on the hit show Kingdom starring Nick Jonas. He's also a cage-side reporter and the editor of Clinch Report. Ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan King. We also have our audio and video producer, the Mad Hatter, Adrian Gallegos. Tonight we have an incredible show planned for you. We have the American gangster Chael Sonnen in 5 minutes. Then in about 35 minutes we have the Bad Apple, Erik Apple. He's going to be calling in as well. We're also going to be talking about Bill Cosby, Donald Trump, the prison guard who helped people escape. She got sentenced. There's so much going on. We also have Beer of the Week and much, much more. We only have 4 minutes till Chael, so let's relax. Let's kind of get in the mood. Adrian, let's have our Beer of the Week to get things started.
So this week for the Beer of the Week is it's brought to you by Avery Brewery. They're out of Boulder, Colorado. It's called the Kaiser. It's an Imperial Oktoberfest lager. Beautiful bottle. Really good beer. I'll pour it out for you guys. It's I believe. Oops, it's an Oktoberfest lager. So, I thought I'd get something for, Oktoberfest is actually in September. I know most people think it's October, but it's actually in September. So, let me pour one out for you guys.
Thank you. I actually went to a brewery today for work, but I did not have anything to drink. And it was interesting because I knew what was going on from doing the Beer of the Week segment with Adrian each week when they were talking about hops and they were talking about the different ingredients and showing the process. I was like, this is just like having Adrian in studio.
Yeah, getting some knowledge brought on you.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. All right, guys, a big show tonight. The American gangster, Erik Apple, our crew back. Clinch was in Vegas, going to talk about his 40th birthday. Cheers.
Salute.
So, what do you think? This is kind of a
okay. Can I give you my review based on what I learned today?
What's that?
It's a little bitter at first, but I was told you have to get over that initial shock, that bitterness, and then it will give you the more mouth-watering clench.
Right.
And I feel it now. It was bitter to start, though. Or I could be completely wrong.
No, this is really smooth. This is a lager, so it's more of a like chocolate malt, I really like this. This is more smoother than your typical ales, right? So
I've had smoother Sour Patch Kids. It's pretty bitter.
Yeah, I get that malty taste right away.
Right.
And then it kind of finishes appley.
Right.
Almost.
Yeah,
Yeah, good point.
You just got to get by the bitter, the original bitterness.
But I do taste that bitterness that washes away. You're right with that. Good call.
And at any second, guys, if we get a call from Chael, Adrian, do you want me to give you the phone offline to take, or it's plugged in already?
It's already plugged in, so it's ready to go.
Okay,
yeah.
so it may ring on air. If it rings on air, we'll just take it on air.
Oh yeah, I'm lowering the volume, so whenever he calls in, I'll make sure.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, guys, so UFC 190, is it 192 or 191?
I believe it's 92.
92, yeah, sorry. So UFC 192, big main event, big title main event, DC against Alexander Gustafsson. I feel like there's been virtually no build-up to this fight. Other than they released a countdown this week, I feel like they haven't done any promotion.
Well, it's two guys that are kind of lost in the mix. It's two guys that the promotion hasn't really got behind yet. Even though Daniel Cormier is the lineal 205-pound champion, he's not the bona fide 205-pound champion. He's not an interim champion, but he's not the bona fide 205-pound champion. So, the promotion hasn't really got behind him. So they haven't really given him that natural push that they have a guy like John Jones. So maybe that's why they haven't put together the promotional package that they would for a guy like that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I actually have Gustafsson winning the next fight.
You have Gustafsson?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you think he's gonna?
I can't hear you, Adrian.
Sorry, you're right. I'm
Sorry about that, guys. Adrian actually was in the hospital a few hours ago. He's trying to tough it out for the show tonight, but we don't know if he's going to make it.
Yeah, I
sorry for the slow start, guys. We're just trying to get the phones and everything worked out because we have a call coming in.
I do see Gustafsson winning by picking him off and using his range as he did, very well against John Jones. The only thing is, I'm not sure how good Gustafsson wrestling is going to be, because DC is going to, it's probably one of the best. So
the one interview I've heard Gustafsson on this entire week was, I think it was on God, I think it was MMA Junkie with Gorgeous George and Goes. Hopefully I got that right. But so anyways, they had Gustafsson on, and he said, I don't care. Let him take me down. I'll beat him on the ground anyway. So he feels that he has the advantage anywhere, even if it goes to the ground. I think his strategy is get it to the later rounds. The only chance I think he has is to take it to later rounds and have a better cardio game plan. Because DC has the perfect frame for this type of fight. Against a tall, lanky guy, he can try to get a leg. He can go low. He can change levels on him. Also, in the clinch, he can brutalize him. So it really is going to be whether or not Cormier can take down and outgrind Gustafsson, or if Gustafsson can outlast him into the late rounds and then pick him apart with the striking. Because I don't think he'll be able to pick him apart when Cormier is fresh. Although he does, in my opinion, have better technical striking.
I think Cormier sees some sort of weakness in Gustafsson in the midsection. I think Cormier is going to try to be attacking the middle area of Gustafsson and then going from the body, trying to get Gustafsson up against the cage, attacking the body, and then taking him down while he's up against the cage. I think that's smart. It's going to be really hard for Cormier to close the distance and take Gustafsson down in the center of the cage. John Jones had a really difficult time doing that against Gustafsson.
But the thing is, John Jones is so tall that he would have to change levels at such a more drastic rate, in my opinion.
Right, but Cormier couldn't do that against Jones.
He's a roly-poly. Yeah, well, Jones is a world-class champion. Jones has won a championship in wrestling, didn't he?
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Against a frame like Jones,
no,
where you could throw those uppercuts and those knees. Who's not
a pure wrestler? I'm telling you, a wrestler versus a tall striker, the wrestler has the favor, or is favored, in my opinion.
I think when you have a wrestler that's near the same height, it's similar, but there's such a huge disadvantage in the reach. I think
Tim Sylvia, Randy Couture. Case in point.
That's a huge differential.
We have a call from Portland, Oregon coming in.
Huge differential.
We have a call from Portland, Oregon, ladies and gentlemen.
Who could it be?
I have no idea.
Who could it be?
I'm too nervous to do an interview. Show's over.
Yeah, show's over.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to bring on the American gangster, Chael Sonnen, a man who really needs no introduction. He's been seen in every major organization you can imagine. He was a title holder in a few organizations, a title contender, arguably a title holder in the UFC middleweight division. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome to the show the one and only, the American gangster, Chael Sonnen. Chael, how are you, sir?
I am doing wonderful, buddy. How are you? That's the real question.
I'm doing amazing. This is Aaron True, and I'm joined by Jonathan King and Adrian Gallegos. Thank you for joining us tonight.
What's up, gentlemen?
Well, there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, John Jones just got announced his penalty, 18 months. What do you think? Does the Cormier-Gustafsson fight determine the real champion, or are they just on the back burner waiting for Jones?
Well, yeah, I think that's right. You know, that whole thing was very weird as far as the championship went in terms of they stripped him of his belt, but they didn't release him. I don't understand. You got a guy still under contract, and you just stick him in a corner with a dunce hat on. So that whole thing was a little bit weird. You know, if you wanted to strip him completely and start over from scratch, then I get it. But yeah, for me, yes, the true champion is very clear. It's John Jones.
Let me ask you a question. Why was Dana there in the court for Jones, but not for Nick Diaz? And do you think the Nick Diaz penalty was too harsh? You're a guy who cooperated, took your beating took your licking like a man, and you came out not so bad. Why do you think Diaz got off with such a harsh punishment?
Well, let's start at the beginning. I didn't know Dana White was in the courtroom for John yesterday.
Yeah, he was.
Yep.
He was there, yes.
Okay, I didn't know that. I guess that's probably just a logistics deal more than anything. I know when Nick's thing went down, Dana was in Australia. So I guess that would be as logical of a conclusion as anything. But as far as the Nick Diaz, I'm not sure why they threw the book at him so hard. I'm not positive they can. I know that their scope is pretty broad and that their oversight is very limited. But even with that said, Vandalay did test this. Vandalay got a lifetime ban, and they took that to a circuit court. They just quickly said, you do not have the authority to do that. So I think the same thing is going to happen with Nick. I think they might have got out of bounds here. That statute is very confusing. If you read how much reach that commission has, it's almost endless. But it's not endless. There is some restraints, and I think that a higher court will look at that and say that I'm right.
Well, Chael, this is Jonathan here. Now that you got John Jones supposedly cleared of most of the harshest of the penalties, and they'll probably let him back 1 or 2 fights, and he'll probably get a title shot. Now that the petulant middle child is back in the UFC, Uncle Dana has to deal with him and his little baby here, Conor McGregor. What does Uncle Dana do? Whose attention does he give to the most? Now you got the petulant child in one corner and Conor in the other corner. What does Uncle Dana do next? Whose attention does he?
You know, I'll start at the beginning on that. John Jones, when he comes back, walks right into a title shot. They've already said that as soon as he's back, it'll be for the belt. It's just a matter of against 2. Business-wise, I think that you've got a good opportunity with either Cormier or Gustafson, but a better one with Cormier. So, John Jones won't have any warm-up fights. He was the champion and arguably the undefeated champion. You've got that Matt Hamill asterisk in there a little bit. So, there's no one else for him to fight. And as far as who do you give your attention to, look, those guys aren't even close. I don't know if you didn't know that. They're not even close. Conor McGregor draws the tickets and the eyeballs. John Jones isn't that big of a draw. That's changing rapidly. He is a profitable guy. He's not, say, Demetrius Johnson, where he's losing money when he fights. He makes very good money for the company, but he's about $500,000 pay-per-view draw every time he fights. Conor's closer 800,000-900,000.
I've got to ask you a serious question. We're going to change tones to a more serious topic here. Would you, Mr. Sonnen, on record, would you feel comfortable driving with your child on the same road that John Jones is driving on?
The whole thing changed when you slip my little monster in there. I suppose I would rather not. You know, and it's funny you bring that up because John Jones doesn't have near as many problems as people make him out to be. You know, he's a party animal and all that stuff. That's all true. But he can do that. There's nothing illegal about that or even wrong with that. He can't drive. You can't combine the alcohol with the vehicle. So, if the guy would just get an Uber app or call himself a taxi, I don't think any of these problems even exist. The problem is when he combines that by getting behind the wheel of a car. And I think he's learned his lesson. I think just shame alone will prompt him to make sure he has a designated driver.
I hope so, because he's an incredible fighter.
Now, Chael, you've been around Jones for a long time, so you've been in the cage with him, you've seen him in the UFC. Is this the type of thing that, this is a sign of things to come, you think? Or is this a cry for help? This was an incident and could have been a wake-up call for him?
I think it'll be a wake-up call for him. I really do. This has been going on for a really long time. These aren't one-offs. He's, he kind of... One thing with athletes as a whole is they never have to grow up. So if you're a 26-year-old athlete like he is, you might as well be a 16-year-old. Athletes just are never forced into that real-world situation. They're always in the locker room joking around and cutting up with the guys, and it does stunt your development a little bit. I can tell you as an athlete, there is downsides to the way that your character evolves. It just evolves slower. So he's been at it for a long time and managed to keep himself safe and out of trouble and out of the spotlight for the most part. And that kind of changed. And people know who he is. Cops are going to love to bust him. People are going to love to make anonymous phone calls and bring this guy down. Again, he doesn't have to change his behavior as drastically as some make it out to. He's just got to not drive.
Chael, you had a video I saw on Flow Wrestling one time. It was about intensity and how you have to immediately match intensity with equal or more intensity. And it was one of the most incredible and inspirational videos I've ever seen. Let me ask you, what advice do you have to people who are trying to overcome adversity because you seem like you've gone through stuff, but you've been able to overcome it and come out on top. You've come back better. You've come back with bigger fights. You've had bigger TV opportunities. You've always seemed to come out on top. So how do you not quit and keep going, and what advice do you have to other people in that respect?
Well, I think part of your question was the answer, which is you just don't quit and you keep going. And there, from a philosophical standpoint, controversy creates cash. And if you get in a jam, you've got to sit down and bring in a couple of smart people and pour a couple cups of coffee and start thinking and talking. But if you can't turn controversy into cash, then you're missing a major opportunity. And secondly, for me, every day's just always kind of been the same for the last 20 years of my life. I get up at the same time every day. I do the same stuff every day. And there was plenty of stumbling blocks there, and some of them were embarrassing, and some of them were stupid. And along the way, there was also some really good and prideful moments too. But every day was the same, where you just get up and you work hard. One of my philosophies is I don't apologize, and that isn't a blanket answer. If you're wrong, apologize, but apologize to the right people. You don't owe everybody an apology, and you don't owe everybody an explanation. And if you're wrong, don't be afraid to say that you're wrong. That's the other thing. The cover-up is always worse than the crime. And if you did something wrong, man, say you did it, take your lumps, and you'll move forward a lot quicker.
You touched on it earlier, just there. You said controversy sells tickets a little bit, and to paraphrase, that's not exactly what you said, but what do you think about these younger fighters, especially like guys like Conor McGregor and some of these younger trash talkers? Basically, in my impression, I think they're basically just cheap Chael Sonnen knockoffs.
Exactly.
Because
the original.
At least when I'm a college graduate, and at least when you were doing it, I would at time for time have to go to a thesaurus and look up a word that you were using. I'd be like, wow, I don't even know what he said. Like it just seems mundane to me, and it just seems kind of cheap and fake. What do you think about it now? Do you think that they're just cheap knockoffs, or do you buy into it yourself sometimes?
Well, there are some knockoffs. I definitely have influenced the way that people market themselves or will promote their careers, particularly when they have a fight on a pay-per-view coming up. But I was the reason I know I did that, and I can say it isn't, look at me. I did it. I was influenced by other people. I saw what they were doing, and I was brash enough to go out and parlay that into to the mixed martial arts crowd too. So I think that what Conor has done is I think he's moved it to the next level. There's definitely a lot of crossover, and he was influenced and would tell you as much. But I think that he has moved it to another level. I think that's what guys need to do. I do see people that come out and they don't get it. I see what they're trying to do. I know where their mind was at. But they just simply don't get it, and that's a tough spot to be in too. When I came through, the way it was from day one was, this is about respect and honor, and I respect my opponent, and I want to go test my skills, and I had no idea where that came from. It was just a bunch of crap, and I got to ask some question about that, and I had just had enough, and I just said, man, it's not about any of those things. I'm going to whip this guy's ass. This is a fist fight inside of a steel cage, and I'm not honored to be in there with him. I'm pissed off that it's taken this long. I'm not here to test my skill. I know exactly what my skills are. I know I know that's my belt, and I'm not afraid to say any of these things, and it puts you at risk. If you go out and you talk big and you can't back it up, it does put you at risk. But I don't see any reason to feather your fall in the first place. I mean, I think that's a cowardly thing to do. I'm not walking to the ring making excuses or grabbing my neck and my back and saying I'm hurt on the way there. I would never talk about it before or after. If I was hurt or sick or anything else, I would take that to the grave.
Tito.
I would take it to the grave.
Yeah, like Tito and other people as well do the same thing.
Yeah, man, they do that. Those guys do that all the time. I just find that to be the epitome of unsportsmanlike, particularly after a win. You see the loser do it all the time, and it doesn't matter how many fights there are. It makes a headline the next day, and you have people that jump on and support him. But when the winner does it, I mean, it's even worse. What's his message? That I would have beaten this guy even easier. had I felt good. It's just a terrible thing to say.
Exactly. I always feel like when people say that when they lose, if you devalue your opponent, then what are you? You lost. But moving on to another person who I think is an incredible linguistics, just incredible public speaker, so eloquently spoken, Donald Trump. How do you feel about Donald Trump, the way he's running his election, and do you see a little bit of yourself in him, the way he speaks? And do you endorse him?
Well, I'm a big Trump fan. Yeah, I'm totally encouraged by him. I find him to be very courageous. I hear all these pundits on TV that not only don't know what they're talking about currently, but they definitely don't know the history of politics. And they try to break down Donald Trump. And the thing they'll say is, oh, he's brash, or he's saying things other people won't, or he's outspoken, and that's why people like him. And they're wrong. It's none of those things. The word to describe Donald Trump is he has courage. That's it. It takes courage to put yourself out there. It takes courage to take a stand. It takes courage to make a statement, and then the next day when the polls come out, if they're against you, to not try to run it back like Martin O'Malley or Hillary or any of these other cowards that we always have running that are just pure politicians. He has courage. He doesn't say he's sorry. He doesn't care what the polls say. He says, this is right, this is where I stand, and that's it. And people are clamoring to that. Now, history says that his campaign will fall off a cliff. The front runner never remains the front runner, but he's already broken records. He's already done things that history say doesn't happen. If his campaign falls off the cliff tomorrow, it still will be studied by every political science class and taught by every political science professor in the country. He's already done things that have never been done, and I love it. And people say he needs to talk about the issues and the points. That's not true. I completely disagree with it. Who cares? You know, people want to talk about foreign policy. People don't know the difference between Iraq and Iran. Yeah, I could give you guys a speech right now on foreign policy, and you'd hang up and go, wow, that guy's a goddamn genius. I could just be making stuff up, but if I slip in the word pipeline, I slip in the word Ayatollah, I slip in the word regime, I bring in Kuwait a couple of times, you're going to be so confused so fast. I hit on the Shiites, and I start doing a few different catchphrases that nobody knows what they mean. And you could be right or wrong. And what kind of prick goes around and studies foreign policy? You're running for the President of the United States. How about you get this country right? How about you tell me what you're going to do in Maryland and Chicago and Wyoming? I really don't give a goddamn what you're going to do in Syria.
Absolutely. Now, Chael, here we go. This is what I have to ask you. We've already heard this idiot Kanye West say that he's going to run in 2020. So I want to know if Chael Sonnen is going to run in 2020. And if so, can I please be involved with your campaign?
I won't be running for the presidency. We've got a real deadbeat out here where I'm from. Our congressman is just a lazy scumbag. I know the guy. He's a very, very nice person. He kisses my ass every time I see him because he knows I'm not afraid to run against him, and he knows that I'll take his spot. I don't want to deal with the pay cut, and I really don't want to go live in Washington, D.C., but at some point I am going to run against him just because I have to. He could not be a more worthless politician. And in Oregon, where I'm from, if you're an incumbent Democrat, you're going to win again and again and again until you die. The people don't pay attention. They have no idea that he's useless, that he's never passed a bill, that he spends most of his time on his golf course, that he didn't even pay his own personal income taxes, but he went to Washington, D.C., and upped taxes on us 7 times. You've got those creeps like that all over, and it's the people's fault. The people don't pay attention. They love to sit around and bitch with their friends, but they don't pay attention, and they spend deadbeats like this guy that I got to Washington, D.C., and they wonder why their taxes goes up and their kids' education goes down. Well, everybody gets the leader that they deserve.
Chael, just a couple more questions for you. Once again, we really appreciate your time here tonight. Are you going to still compete possibly against Josh Barnett and Metamoris? And are you now the commentator for World Series of Fighting? And tell us, when can we see you announcing?
I am 100% scheduled to wrestle Josh Barnett 100%, regardless of the rumors out there. That match is supposed to happen. With Metamoris, anything can happen. They don't have all their dates locked in yet. But yes, it will be Josh and I for their championship. And as far as commentating, yeah, I'm with the World Series of Fighting now. There's a few seats there, kind of like the UFC. You've got the Rogans and the Goldbergs and Stan and Anik and Flory, and these guys are all great, and they're mixing and matching and making these different teams up. I think once Cormier's schedule opens up, I think he'll also be doing live events. I think Dominic Cruz would be great at that. But at any rate, let me refocus here. The point I've got is for World Series of Fighting, there's a few seats there as well. I know Henzo does some of it. I know Boss has been there from the beginning. I've seen Mike Schrock out there. My partner, Todd Harris. So, yes, I just did a show. I've got one coming up here. Fitch is going to fight Okami. And I'm scheduled also for a November show that's going to take place in Las Vegas. But there's a few guys. I'll tag in. I'm not. I haven't replaced anybody. All the guys that used to be there are still there. I'm just added to it.
Now, recently we had on a mutual friend of mine and yours, Mr. Phil Baroni, and he said that this pro wrestling gig going on. He said if Chael Sonnen decides to drop a potato, a quote unquote potato, that he was going to put your lights out. So, is there any chance that we're gonna see you two guys in the squared circle? And if so, when is this going to happen?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think you'll see Phil in there. I know Phil is doing some wrestling, and I'm doing some commentating and some broadcasting for those guys, and they're in the startup phase. They're trying to get picked up. They've got a pilot done. And unless they do get picked up, then I'm really not involved. Unless they have a show to commentate, there's nothing for me to commentate. I don't really have a place in there. But I know Phil is training and he's doing some matches. And, frankly, I would think he'd be pretty good. I think as far as age goes, he's getting a bit of a late start. So did Diamond Dallas Page. So he could definitely make it. Phil's got the look and the talent and the charisma. The age might be against him a little bit. There's some politics in that sport, but if he and I did wrestle, I mean, to his point, it would be nothing but potatoes. I don't know. I'm not a trained wrestler. I don't know how else to do that, and he doesn't either. And I think that's why they're thinking of matching us up. Is like, oh, put those guys out there. They'll just go do a shoot. Which might be a little bit rough, but I'm not sure. At least from my end of it, I shouldn't speak for Phil because he is training and learning how to do it the right way. But I think if we were to get in there right now, that's what it would be. We'd both be throwing potato.
What's the hardest you've ever been hit by someone in a fight? Who was it, or who was it by?
The hardest I've ever been hit was by Damian Maya.
Wow!
I took him down. I was on top. He was on bottom, if you can picture this. He reached over like he was going to do a Kimura. So he's turned his body like he's going to attack a wrist. And with the hand that he reached over with, as he brought his body back to central, he did a back fist and hit me in the face, which, they say the hardest shot is the one you don't see coming. I had never seen that. I'd never seen that in practice. I never saw a guy do that to anyone. And that's what ended the fight. He ended up put me in a triangle choke a little bit later, which is how the official record shows it. But what the official record doesn't know is I was already knocked out. He knocked me out and submitted me. And it was just a really terrible experience.
All right, well, Chael, for those of you who are listening on iTunes and SoundCloud and not watching the live broadcast or the YouTube replay, we've had up on the screen the whole time. Everyone, I want you to, if you haven't heard of it, if you live under a freaking rock, Chael's podcast, podcast1.com/Chael Sonnen. It's called You're Welcome with Chael Sonnen. And every Wednesday, new episodes. Also, check out his website, badguyinc.com, for all this cool merchandise and cool updates and stuff. So, Chael, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate your insight, your knowledge, your wisdom. And hopefully we can develop a friendship with you and have you on the show again sometime soon.
Gentlemen, I appreciate the plug and I appreciate your time. You have a great show here. I know this is going to go very far, and if you ever need my help, you know where to find me.
You're a great person, Chael. We really appreciate your help.
Thank you so much, sir.
Chael Sonnen, ladies and don't hang up. Yes.
Hey, fellas, there's a new joke going around. What's 6 feet tall, charming, handsome, and vanishes in the drop of a hat?
What's that?
God damn it! He got us. Damn it. He got us. He got us. I can't believe he freaking got us. You even said he was going to do that. I can't believe he freaking got us. Damn it. I can't believe it. That was awesome. Clinch, he looks like right here he's going in epileptic seizure. But, dude, you said outside right before the show started, you said, guys, just to let you know, Chael ends the interview when he wants to end it.
Absolutely.
I can't believe he did that.
I'll just a little backstory on Chael. Like, I wrote a story about Chael's absence from the UFC broadcast. This is how Chael and I met. And he sent me, I've written a bunch of stories about Chael, and he's always contacted me when I'm critical, and he's always contacted me when I'm supportive. Every single time he's contacted me. Every time I've written a story about him. I swear to God, I'm not joking. I could get 10 views on the story. I'll still get a response from Chael.
This is what I told you also outside. He puts people over.
Yep.
He's one of the few guys where he will put you over. He's not going to just look out for himself and be selfish in terms of media possibilities and opportunities. And that's unbelievable. For this guy to come on our show to do you a favor when he promised you a favor. How long ago was that? Like 2 years ago?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We had a last minute minute guest fall off, and I threw a Hail Mary. I was like, you had sent me an email a while back. It was like 2 years ago, I think. I don't even know. And I got a one-word response, done. And I didn't even believe it. I thought it was a troll.
I know.
We all thought it was a troll.
We all thought it was a troll. We're like, yeah.
Not to blow up our own spot, but we all thought it was a troll.
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
That's funny.
And then, sure enough, his management sent us a response. And next thing you know, at 8 o'clock, Chael calls in. And thank you so much, Chael. You're a true gentleman and a man of your word. Thank you.
Yeah, that was awesome. John, we're going to bring on Erik Apple in about 5 or 10 minutes.
Sure.
So before we do that, tell us about your... Or do you want to... Actually, since we're talking UFC, we'll get into your 40th birthday in Vegas.
Sure.
But we'll just talk about one or two more fights before we bring on Erik Apple. Johnny Hendricks, Tyrone Woodley, co-main event, 170. Basically, winner gets a title shot, right?
Yeah. This is a really tough fight to pick. It's... Johnny Hendricks is the type of fighter that if he doesn't knock somebody out, if it's a close fight, it's really tough for judges to score in his favor.
And they say he doesn't go for the knockout in his favor.
Oh, in his favor, yeah.
And they're saying he lost that killer instinct and he's playing it safe, which is not his advantage. When he went through knocking people out, John Fitch and Martin Kampman and other people, he was getting one-hitter quitters.
Absolutely.
Now when he tries to grind it out, he's not able to do it consistently.
Tyrone Woodley is one of the guys that I'm highest on in the 170-pound division. The guy's a freak of nature as an athlete, great wrestler, thunderbolt in both left and right hands, and he has great kicks too.
By the way, I just found out that he's training with Duke Rufus now.
So, is he really?
Yeah, Tyrone Woodley's training to stand up with Duke Rufus. So.
Wow.
Yeah, God, I was listening to another show. I always forget. I listen to so many MMA shows, and they said stand-up's his weakness. Oh, yeah, Gustafsson, I think, maybe. Or I don't even know who it was.
That's his weakness?
Yeah, exactly. That's what they said. The person...
I'd fucking run from his weakness.
Yeah, the knowledge...
Who's that, Tyrone Woodley?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a weakness, but it's not the strongest part of his game.
They were probably using that as a point of contention, saying that how great he is. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't think... I think what they meant... I think it's the same podcast.
Yeah, I know he trained wrestling. He wrestled with Chandler and
actually,
those guys.
maybe it was Joe Rogan.
Yeah, it was Joe Rogan. And so the thing is, I think what they were mentioning is that, his stand-up is probably, out of all his tools that he has, his striking is not as sharp as some of the other guys.
Exactly.
And so I think he went up to Duke Rufus to sharpen that up. I mean, he definitely has power in those hands. But, as far as combinations, he has, he's very explosive, very quick. And, also, I think going up to Duke Rufus, he's going to be able to pace himself. The other thing he does happen to have, he runs out of gas towards the end of the fights.
Because he has so much muscle.
Right.
And this is the first fight, no IV.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how these guys are going to react to the weight cut. Johnny Hendricks cuts a lot of weight. Woodley cuts a lot of weight. Ryan Bader cuts a lot. Or not even weight, I mean water weight.
See,
Rashad Evans.
I can't let the weight cut get involved in picking the fight, but
I'm all weight cut. That's the only reason I'm doing all my picks based on weight cut.
Because it affects everybody, you know. But
weight cut Wednesday.
As high as I am on Woodley as a prospect, I think he is the future of the welterweight division. I think he is, and as
who Woodley
as sad luck Sally
he doesn't
as
know
Hendricks
how to strike.
has been in this division and in this fight. I honestly think Hendricks makes a statement, and I think Woodley goes to sleep in the first 30 seconds of the fight.
Wow, 30 seconds?
I
That's
think
that's a. You know,
I was gonna troll you.
Let me make sure I'm recording.
I was gonna pick that and troll him. But
I don't know why. I'm just in my head. I'm picturing a very angry Johnny Hendricks coming out and throwing like a John Fitch type fucking knockout with one hand, like, I told you I am back, motherfuckers. You fucking hate.
The only reason why I disagree with that is because I think that,
and it's nothing against Tyrone Woodley. I think he's great and he will be the future. Not to interrupt you.
You just called him a slackjaw, and you had your take.
I just think Woodley's too quick for him to knock him out. I think the way for him to win is to take him down. You know, I just don't think he's going to be able to land that one punch. I think Tyrone's way too quick for him, personally.
I just see it in my head.
I would love to see it. You know what? If Tyrone has been training with Duke Rufus and says, "Hey, ego, I'm going to stand with Big Rig," and the wrestling negates the wrestling,
yeah.
Big Rig can land the one-hitter quitter.
Well, what does that take him down?
I don't even necessarily like either guy. I don't dislike either guy, but I'm kind of rooting for Hendricks a little bit. I don't know why, actually, because I don't want to see him in another title fight. But screw it. I'm going to go for...
another draw like we had this last weekend?
Yeah, I'll go since you're going Hendricks, I'm going to go Woodley, but I actually am rooting for Hendricks. Okay, the next fight, this is incredible too. Ryan Bader has been a perennial contender. On the brink, so close, but that one loss to Tito. He's fighting Rashad Evans, Bader versus Evans. Is this... Basically, they're saying it's almost like that's the #1 contender fight for Cormier and Gustafsson, possibly. How do you guys see that?
I kind of see it as the Tito guillotine fight. It's like the Bader got caught in it.
You think
and Rashad almost got caught in it.
You think Rashad's going to mollywop him?
I think Rashad's stand-up is too good for Bader, and I think Rashad's wrestling takedowns will neutralize Bader's takedown defense, and I think Rashad's takedown defense is as good, if not better, than Bader's takedown defense.
Yeah,
offense.
I'm going with Bader on this one. He's been working very hard on his boxing the last 3 fights, and he can throw a punch now and can strike.
Yeah,
even though he did get the shit kicked out of him by Machida, but that's different. I think he lost to a body shot against Machida, a body kick.
Yeah.
But Machida, that's
right.
K1 level striking, pardon the expression. But Machida, that's a different story. But Rashad, he's not going to throw the body kicks, even though he's with the Black Zillions. So he does work with Henry. Is it Henry Hooft or Nesto Hooft or something?
No, Henry Hooft.
Henry Hooft. Yeah. So. I could see Rashad throwing kicks as that is one of his weaknesses, but I think Bader is right now peaking and Rashad is descending. So I'm going to go with
Rashad's coming off.
Even though I would bet on Evans probably, but I think Bader is this is his shot. This is his chance. Okay, so Adrian, just quick, who do you pick?
I would go with Rashad.
Wow, the nipple twist Rashad.
Yeah, I'm just going with the guys where I think are more explosive.
Yeah, I think even though he's coming off knee surgery, I think Rashad's more explosive.
Yeah, and then heavyweight fight. Not title contention and no one even in the top 10, so we're going to skip it. Sean Jordan versus Rusian Maga something. Shouldn't even be on the pay-per-view.
Magomedov, is it?
Yeah. I don't even care what it is. Sorry about that, guys. But Jessica Ai versus Julia Pena. That's actually a really tough fight for Pena, and this is basically what happened. Pena used to train with Miesha Tate. I just lost to Tate, then calls out Pena right after. So Ai's coming off the loss to Tate, I believe, right? Or did she fight once after that?
You want to know my pick?
No, yeah, she's coming off a loss to Miesha Tate. So I think Julia Pena, if she wins, she is going to get the title shot against Rousey, in my opinion.
I think Pena is the future of that.
Same with me.
With the one weight class. I think
she's a stud.
I think she beats Miesha. I think I think she definitely has a chance to get to the second
She's
position.
a little sloppy sometimes, but it's possible. She's tough.
Yeah.
Can I ask a legitimate question?
Joseph Benavidez on the undercard, man. And Rose Namaharis against Angela Hill.
Hey, Aaron, what's
then we got to call Eric Apple right after
what's
this.
the female version of a stud? So, like, if you're saying, like...
A hottie. I don't know, hot chick?
No, like, if you're saying, yo, like, Chuck Liddell, that dude's a fucking stud. Like, that dude's the best.
A pigeon?
No, but, like, a female fighter. Like, how would you say, like, a female fighter...
Badass.
No, that's 2 words.
Yeah, you don't say stud.
Why not?
No, but what's the horse that gives birth that they just use to give birth?
Bitch. She's not a do nothing bitch.
There you go.
She's okay. So
Do nothing,
yeah,
bitch.
okay. So
Wanna
Ronda
call
made
in
it,
Apple?
all right.
Yeah, go
Thank
ahead.
you guys.
Okay, and then Rose Namajunas against Angela Hill, Thug Rose. I'm going for Thug Rose. Angela Hill, she doesn't really have a. She's been training for like 2 years. She just doesn't have a technical background for MMA, and she can get on me and sue us and call me names. I don't care.
No, I see her coming
I have
back in
nothing
the
against her as
UFC
a
and
person.
making.
I just don't think she's tough, and she's scrappy, but it's just she got into this in a weird situation.
You're right. I see her making a name for herself in her second stint in the UFC. I think her first stint is just about done, and I think Thug Rose is the one that ends it. Thug Rose is a juggernaut of an athlete. She's got holes in her game, but I think she wins this fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to bring on our second guest of the night. I don't even know if he knows that we just had Chael Sonnen on right before him. But ladies and gentlemen, we're bringing on a man who wears many hats and many helmets. He's an action sports star, an MMA fighter, all-around badass. Ladies and gentlemen, Erik Apple, welcome to the show. Erik, how are you?
I'm doing good, Aaron. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on. And real quick, is it okay if I call you Pooh Bear, or is that just for Tila?
You just calm down now. Calm down.
All right, well, Erik, you've been very vocal supporting Nick Diaz. How do you, as a professional fighter and as someone who was a very successful high-level fighter, fought on Strikeforce side by side with Nick Diaz for years, knows him well, what do you think about the suspension? Is it fair?
Well, I mean, of course it's not fair. I mean, there's, anybody who thinks that suspension is fair is doesn't really have a grip on reality or has some kind of personal vendetta either against Nick or against marijuana. Now, the funny thing is I'm one of the few people you'll ever meet who's never smoked marijuana in his life. I've never ever smoked anything in my life. I have a problem with smoke. I don't like any kind of smoke around me. But at the same time, I mean, I think it's absolutely ridiculous for them to enforce that kind of suspension against them. And as I said before, I really think that the people on the Nevada Athletic Commission, they have shone a light on themselves with this controversy. And, usually people who work for the Athletic Commission in each state, they kind of have the freedom to do whatever they want. They don't have much oversight. Nobody's really bothering them or kind of checking up on them. But I really believe that they set themselves up for failure here, because now I think there's going to be people looking down on them and with some oversight, checking up on what they do, and they're not going to really be allowed to get away with anything they want anymore.
Well, yeah, so how are they going to be able, like you said, you just made a thread on a message forum, how are they going to possibly sanction John Jones and then suspend Nick Diaz? Is that fair?
Well, I mean, it's apples and oranges. Sorry for the pun there, but it really is when you think about it. Considering that John Jones, he faced a court in New Mexico, and Nick Diaz faced an athletic commission in the state of Nevada. So it's two totally different things, but it's still it still comes back to if the UFC re-signs John Jones or signs John Jones for a fight here in the next 18 months, I'll be really blown away, and I really think it's sending a bad message for them to, if the state of Nevada, allows him to have a license to fight while he's on formal probation for a felony, that's a pretty big deal, and it sends a bad message.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. So in terms of what's currently going on with that, there's also a lot going on with Rousey and Cyborg. I know that you've trained with Chris Cyborg. You know how tough she is. Have you ever trained with Ronda Rousey? And do you think they'll ever even fight? And if they do, what would happen?
Of course, I trained with Chris. And the first thing I want to say is, for anybody that has anything negative to say about Chris, anybody who has anything negative to say about Chris has never met her. She is, she's a very scary girl, and she can beat the crap out of pretty much any woman and most men on this planet. But she is one of the nicest women you could ever want to meet in your life. So, it really bothers me when I hear people speaking negatively about her. The second thing is no, I haven't trained with Ronda. I've talked to a lot of people who have, and, I think that Chris and her would be a very, very competitive fight, and I truly believe that Chris is the only person on the planet at the moment who can even give Ronda a real fight and who has a chance to take away that belt. And, to answer your last question, last but not least, I think they'll fight eventually. I mean, Chris is coming down to 140 for this fight. It's just a matter of her, she's probably going to have to surrender a little bit of that muscle weight to make 35, but once she does that, that's the big money fight, and even Ronda can't look past that. She wants to make the big money.
Erik, this is Jonathan here. You're a former MMA fighter. You still train in mixed martial arts and fighting. You're a professional, I believe, race car driver. I would say, dare I say, you're addicted to adrenaline. And
did you call him a dick?
No, I said addicted to, and I have a fucking stutter. Thanks for making fun of me, asshole.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know that.
Hey, Erik, did you know that Aaron makes fun of people with special needs because I have a stutter? He's making fun of me over here, But you're addicted to you're addicted to adrenaline stuff. Where do you think that comes from as a person? You're very well spoken, and obviously you said you don't smoke marijuana. You don't seem to be like an extreme athlete type person that in that type of respect, where you have an extreme mentality outside of life. How does that translate? Where did that come from for you?
Well, I grew up in South Orange County. I grew up, and I've always been around just like high-level athletes of all kinds. So, a lot of people, say that to me, like, are you an adrenaline junkie, or do you look for that kind of stuff? And I honestly don't. To me, it's just normal. I mean, literally, I grew up around race cars. I always wanted to be involved with race cars, and when I had the opportunity and I had a sponsor who was willing to pay for it, I jumped right into it with no fear, and went out and raced with some of the best guys in the world. Before I actually fought, I rode BMX in the X Games. I announced in the X Games, and I grew up, in South Orange County in Hawaii, so I grew up in the ocean a lot. So I was, getting paid to surf as well. I've actually been paid at this point to do 4 different sports. I think if we get to one more, I think if I do one more, I'll officially be the world's most interesting man.
I think you might already, so people could hear the stories. I hate to cut you off, but after you finish your next thought, I got to know the biggest wave you've ever surfed at the Wedge or somewhere else and what it was like.
Probably, 25, 30 feet on the face. And,
that can
guys,
easily kill you. I grew up around the ocean.
That's like a 50-foot wave.
Was it at the Wedge, or what kind of break was it?
Yeah, I mean, I've surfed really big waves of the Wedge, and of course, on the North Shore, Pipeline, and places like that. And I've done toe-ins out on the North Shore, some really big waves as well.
What's the pressure, like the amount of force from the water, like? What's it compare? Can you compare it to anything or describe it?
I mean, not knowing which way is up.
Wow.
Well, I guess this would be a good question for our audience. You're a guy that has done stuff that most everybody in here in our audience would think is absolutely fucking ridiculous on an everyday basis. I mean, from banging hot girls to surfing 400-foot waves. Give us a moment where you were like, "Oh fuck."
There's a couple big moments in sports. I mean, for me, when you win a fight, like a big fight on, one that's live on TV, for me, I feel a huge feeling of relief when it's over, and like a euphoria, like, man, like all that work I did, training 5 hours a day, 6 days a week. I did that for 8 weeks or 10 weeks, and this moment made it worth it. I had, some other moments like that are like when you're surfing a wave like Pipeline, and it's, your life is on the line. It's literally death defying, and you come out of that barrel and you get spit out. That's also a feeling of relief. Like, man, I made it, and everyone on the beach saw that. All the people I know on the beach, all the photographers saw that. And that's another thing. Like with racing too. I mean, I raced the Lucas Oil Off-Road Series, and it's a full contact race series, and the guys are hitting each other all day. Some of the jumps are 150 feet, so you're traveling over half a football field in the air. And so, literally, the first couple times I raced, when the race was over, I literally, in my mind, was like, I lived. Yes, I made it.
That's insane. So, Erik, this show, it's technically a guy show, and it's hosted by 3 men. But compared to you, I'd say you're more of an alpha male than the 3 of us. So I've got to ask you for some advice. How do you always find these hot women, and then especially from what I've been told, hot Asian women with big boobs, according to Ian McCall? First time I remember at Kings MMA, you were with the girl, I won't say her name, but I had to be partners with her during warm-ups, and it was the stupidest stretch where the person sits on top of you and straddles you.
Wait, where was this?
At Kings. And you were in the cage warming up, just shadowboxing, and I was on the mat. It was an Asian girl with It was just an Asian girl, I'll say that. And I was like, I'm not touching this girl. This is Eric's girl right here. And he yells in front of the whole class, "Don't be a pussy, Aaron. Just get on top of her like a man." And it was just, he doesn't care. He's so confident. So how do you find, or how do you get involved with these women? Does it take a lot of confidence, or just be a good-looking pro athlete?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, let's look at the stats. I mean, I've been in movies. I get paid to beat people up on TV, and I drive race cars. So, I mean, if hot girls don't like me, I must be blowing it. Number one.
I was afraid you're going to say that, but I was hoping there was some kind of magical, that there was some kind of thing you could tell me.
I mean, and I think the biggest thing is not worrying about it or not caring. Like, the more you try or the more you care, then it's not going to work. Like, if you have that attitude, like, look, like, I'm not really that worried about it, and you know, as far as I'm concerned, this girl's lucky to be here with me. When you have that attitude, I think that's what works out the best.
Nice.
All right, and then
that's the biggest thing. If you don't care and you let them like worry about you, you got them locked.
I just had a quick question, Eric. I know that with all that being said about what you do on the day-to-day and whatnot, and all these girls, and how do you find time to go to the underground, and then how do you deal with all those assholes in that forum?
Oh God, the UG has progressively gotten worse over the years, and dudes are such smart-ass PC bitches who just want to talk shit from behind a keyboard. It's getting worse and worse and worse, and I really believe that's why like so many less fighters are on there nowadays. You know?
Yeah, which amazes me because you're on there every day. It seems like, you know, contesting with these guys, talking shit all day.
Oh my God, I just thought of something. Speaking of someone on there every day who doesn't take shit from anyone, you got to tell us the legendary story when someone on the UG called out the wrong guy.
Are you talking about Bob Sapfan?
I never knew who it was, but I know that someone actually met up with you and you put him to sleep, I heard.
Yeah, it did.
Wait, what?
Someone on the UG, let's hear the story from Erik.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't go on the UG that much, so.
They ran him off. He couldn't take the heat.
So Bob Sapfan and I had a little argument and da-da-da. And this is like before. This is when I only had a few fights and I wasn't very well known and people didn't really know what I was really up to. And he called me out. And I said, "Well, I'll be at the UFC next month in Vegas. Da-da-da. If you have a problem with me, come and find me."
Nice.
So he did, and he got guillotined.
Oh,
did he shoot a double?
Yeah, he did.
He shot.
That's amazing. That's so awesome.
But if anything, much respect because he showed up.
Yeah, he showed up.
Well,
yeah.
you got to give him credit for showing up. Did you Marcellotine? Did you arm over the guillotine?
I can't remember the details of it, but I got it.
Hey, Erik, you're someone who comes from a long lineage of professionalism in MMA. Like, I'm talking old school RVT, Huas Valley Tudo days. You have the nasty inside leg kick. I still have nightmares. The only time I ever wound up somehow stuck in the cage with you one time, because I avoid you like the plague, is right off the ding, you hit me with the inside, on the inside of my thigh, my front leg with inside kick, and I was like, it's over. I was already fucked right then. So talk to me about the days of like how you grew up and how hardcore the training was, and who's the guy who's hit you the hardest during training?
Man, I mean, I started out at Huas Valley Tudo, and that was back in probably 2001, 2002, and I had no boxing experience, no wrestling experience, no jiu-jitsu experience. I just showed up. I was an athletic kid, been in fights and stuff like that, but I didn't really know how to fight properly. And Robert Emerson and that whole crew and Shane Del Rosario and all those guys were going to Marco. So we had a crew of guys that really knew how to fight there. And man, I mean, the stories that you hear about Marco, I mean, I can't tell you enough. I mean, of course, there's a story about him beating up professional fighters like Chris Brennan and other guys until they would literally cry. Like literally, he would mount them and beat them up so bad that they would crawl into the corner sobbing and crying because he wouldn't stop. And this was like, and this was normal to him. As a matter of fact, he KO'd me twice in the same round. He KO'd me, and I wasn't like sleeping, but I was like out of it. I went down, but I didn't go to sleep. And I stood up, and my nose was kind of sideways. And I remember Babalu grabbed my nose with both hands, and he straightened it out. And popped it back straight. And Marco looked at me and he goes, "Can you breathe?" And I was like, "Well, yeah." And I started walking off the mat. And he slapped me on the chest. He goes, "Okay, go." And then, like, probably 60 seconds later, he put me down a second time in the same round. So I for sure have some memory loss and brain damage thanks to Marco Huas. I mean, there were days where I would show up to training, and he would just coach us some days, and then other days you'd show up and he'd be wrapping up and taping up, and that means he's going to spar with us, and I would literally borderline be in tears, like trying to figure out how I could get out of this because he would beat us up so bad.
Just pretend you have to throw up and run off the mat. That's what I did at Kings every time.
He would literally beat us up that bad. And as far as guys that hit me really hard that I was freaked out by, Tyrone Spong, I boxed with him before.
Wow. Oh man.
Yeah, that guy hits like
he hits so hard that it's really, really upsetting. I used to box with a Mexican Olympian named Francisco Bojado, and I don't know if you've ever been around any real Olympians, but anybody who makes the Olympics is on another level. I mean, anybody who wrestles in the Olympics or boxes is just a whole other level from the average person. And I would box with him, and I wouldn't even know what happened. He'd hit me 3 times, and I would be like, I don't even know what you did.
Jeez, that's incredible.
And then what's the Italian guy that used to be in the UFC is not in there anymore?
Fioravanti?
Oh,
no.
Luigi
Fioravanti?
No. The one that boxed really good. He was a middleweight, 185.
Oh, not Fabiano Maldonado or whatever.
No, he's Brazilian.
I know. But he's a good boxer.
the one with all the Roma tattoos.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God, not Zeus. He had a name like one of the
Sicario, Alessio.
Yes.
Alessio Sakara.
Yeah.
Alessio Sakara. He can hit you so hard with a jab that it's all right.
Really?
Please don't do that anymore. That hurt.
Wow, that's pretty interesting.
Look at this.
I mean, it's funny because MMA fighters, even MMA fighters who have stand up that's considered good for MMA, compared to a real Thai boxer or a real world class boxer, 95% of MMA guys don't know how to hit or kick properly. That's why I had so much success with my kicks because I learned from Thais how to kick. So I broke Ray Alby's leg, I broke someone else's leg in a fight before as well. So most stand-up guys in MMA don't really hit that hard compared to a professional boxer or a Muay Thai guy. So that's why I was able to really have a lot of success with my kicks.
Yeah, Howard Davis Jr. hit me with a jab once, and it didn't feel it until the next morning when I was making breakfast.
Yeah, it's a whole different level when you get someone who knows how to hit you properly. It's a whole other story.
All right, Eric. Well, we got a few more questions for you before we let you get going. What are you currently involved in? Where can we find you? Are you actively competing in any sports? Are you working possibly for any energy drink or any companies that we could, maybe wink, wink, talk to you about sponsorship for?
He just slides that in there. That was fucking beautiful, bro.
Thank you.
That was so nice. So I've been running some different action sports brands down here in Carlsbad, a surf brand, a wetsuit brand, a wake surf brand. We own a cutting service called KKL, which cuts surfboards before the shaper actually touches it. So nowadays, when a company or a shaper makes a surfboard, 95% of the work is done by a machine before the shaper actually touches it. And we own the programs and machines that do that. And we do everybody from Firewire, Channel Islands to Chris Christensen. And since I've been involved, we do Kelly Slater's personal boards. So that's going real well. And then another thing that we're involved with that we just acquired recently is a soap. And I know it's going to sound funny. We have a soap called Defishing Soap, and it's the only soap in the world that gets rid of the smell of fish.
Yeah, I got a couple girls I can use that for.
Yeah,
I'm not having that good of luck on Tinder lately. I'll tell you that.
No, actually, dude, that's
no,
huge.
I'm kidding. Go back into the soap though. I went fishing. I filmed a show that was like Wicked Tuna, where we went to Mexico or Gulf of Mexico on the boat, and they were catching tuna. It stunk so freaking bad. All my shoes were ruined, my clothes, my hands. I couldn't get the smell off for a week. Yeah.
So we make the only soap in the world that gets rid of it, and it works. And I have some relationships from when I worked at MMA Elite and some other places, and we just wrote a purchase order to Walmart just last week. So I mean, the stupid soap thing is going to make millions of dollars.
And what's that called again? KKL.
The soap is called Defishing Soap.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Defishing Soap. Go ahead and tell them Eric Apple and Aaron True sent you. And make sure you make a big order there, ladies and gentlemen.
Dude,
that's pretty good, right, Erik? That's a good promo, right?
That's good stuff, man.
That's right.
My wife's Filipino. I cook fish all the time, and my hands are constantly smelling like fish, dude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So now I see the relation, because Erik, you bring that up because you have an Asian wife. Erik dates Asian people. So you now I see the correlation.
Yeah. Oh, hey, what's up?
Yeah,
We should hang out.
I gotta sell a lot of fish if I'm gonna be flying back and forth seeing Tila every week.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. What is it like when? I mean, obviously you are used to dating attractive women. So how do you just not care when obviously guys are hitting on her all the time? And is it just one of those things you said about where you just have confidence and just don't care? And how do you approach that situation?
Well, with Tila, I mean, man, she's super recognizable. So, I mean, going anywhere with her is kind of is always a big deal. Like, she gets recognized anywhere and everywhere, and people literally line up to take pictures, even still. But I mean, I don't, like I said, I mean, it's just about not caring. I mean, I like her, of course, I'm into her, but I don't trip out. Like, whatever. Like, you just have to have that frame of mind. Like, if she wants to be around someone else, that's her loss.
She's got to have a kind of ugly friend that wants to hang out.
Yeah,
she's got to. Just
yeah, but you know what? Even
something for me.
Aaron can tell
So,
you.
I mean, are you aiming for the ugly friend, Aaron? See, that's the whole point.
No, I'm just trying to get in the crew. I'm trying to get in the crew, and if you're
that's
dating,
an easy way in.
You're dating like one of the most recognizable, models, film entertainers, TV people, like one of the original reality television stars before it was now so ridiculous. I'm just trying to get anything. Maybe her assistant.
Oh my lord! Oh my lord!
By that laugh, I can tell her assistant might not be bad. Either that or it's probably a guy.
Yeah, but you know what, Erik, I have some friends that are in the business and they're real recognizable and not dating them.
Wait. What business is that?
Show business, and just going to play golf with guys.
Mainstream TV.
Just going to play golf with guys. It's a pain in the ass with people coming up all the time. Can I take your picture? And we're just trying to fucking tee off. It's like, dude, we're playing golf here. You know what I mean? Like, I understand.
And then the celebrities are like, "Hey, shut up, let us do our job."
I could only imagine being a boyfriend. It's got to get annoying sometimes. Like. You're at the drive-thru for Taco Bell and some fucking assholes coming to your window or something. You know what I mean? Like,
you think this guy's eating Taco Bell at the drive-thru?
Dude, I don't know his life. I'm talking about my life. Oh. I'm superimposing me into the life. It's got to get annoying.
When's the last time you ate fast food? By the way, do you eat a clean diet?
Listen, unless I'm cutting weight for a fight, I eat whatever I want.
Boom.
I just had a huge bowl of ice cream with some chocolate syrup.
Boom.
Oh man, that sounds so good. I wish I could eat that.
Wait, so tell me how my girl Jessie was the other day.
Oh, it was great. She's such a good interview. She was really fun, and she was flirting with my co-host Jonathan a lot. And I asked her about how to get a threesome.
She is one of the coolest girls ever.
So nice.
She is honestly so professional.
I know her really well.
She's really... Oh, you lucky bastard. Okay, so yeah, speaking of which, I'm not going to name any names. I'm not even going to go in getting even close, but... So I was hanging out recently with someone, and we start talking, and she says, "Oh, you're in MMA? Do you know so-and-so?" And so this happens fairly often, where there's guys like you, and I accidentally get the leftovers. Does that happen to you where you hook up with a girl ever, and it's like, "Oh yeah, I hooked up with this other fighter," and it's like your homie. It's one of your buddies.
I really try to avoid that, but I mean, it's like Ghostbusters. Eventually, you're going to cross streams.
Yes.
So you don't mind using somebody else's hot tub?
So wait. So Aaron, are you saying you hung out with a girl the other day and she asked you if you knew me?
No, it wasn't you. It wasn't you.
There's another MMA fighter.
But it actually it's never happened. I don't get the same girls on the level as you, but there's some older guys that know you.
I was gonna say, if Aaron's banging one of the same girls I have, I better set my gang up.
Oh! I would be saying the same thing.
Kidding.
I don't blame you. I'd be saying the same thing.
It was the assistant of one of your ex-girls.
Yeah.
See, but you can't have that attitude. See, Aaron, this is part of the problem. You have to believe that you can bang the hottest girl in the world, and the hottest girl in the world should be lucky to hang out with you. That's the attitude you should have, because no one else is going to believe that if you don't believe it.
See, Erik, that's what I've been trying to tell you. Here it is. Erik Apple is on your podcast. He's on your show. You should be banging top level ass. You know, you should be crushing pussy, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, let's not get crazy. Come on,
Eric. Come on, I'm trying here. Come on.
Oh man,
fucking killing you. You're ruining all the progress that we just built.
Oh man, I think I don't know if I'm further along or further behind than when I started before the interview. Oh man.
I mean, like I said, it's. I mean, like in my mind, I mean, if you put me in the room, I mean, I think in my mind, I could go home with Angelina Jolie. If you put me in the room with her, I'll get her. I don't care who it is or how famous they are.
Do you think you could take Brad Pitt in a fist fight?
I mean, I would slap him around just for fun, just to make a point.
Awesome. All right, well, Erik, we're gonna let you get going, but I want to thank you personally for taking the time out of your schedule, coming on the podcast and hanging out, shooting the shit, giving us insight on your career, your life, advice on women. It's been an absolute honor and pleasure to have some of your time, and we're really appreciative of it. And hopefully we can have you on again.
100%, buddy. Anytime you guys want, and anytime you guys want to chat about MMA or girls or any of that stuff, I'm here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Erik Apple.
All right, man. That guy's awesome. Dude, he's fun, dude.
The only problem with that interview is how the hell are we going to choose a fucking headline? How are we going to choose a headline?
It's too many. It's like Chael's. There's like 10 headlines.
Yeah,
My God, Erik, I didn't know what to expect. I'm scared of it. I've been really scared of him my whole life just because of the UG story where he choked a guy out. And then at training, he's fucking badass. Like, he's tough. People talk shit. This guy's fucking a killer. So I've always been afraid of him. That was the most in-depth I've ever probably hung out, talked with him. What a nice guy.
You know,
really cool guy.
He's a guy that I didn't know a lot about. He's a guy that you knew and you brought into the show as a guest. And when I was doing research for him, I couldn't help but get enthralled. He's a guy that, you know, my whole life I've kind of adopted this strategy where I've always tried to do what other people tell me to do. Mm-hmm. And I was never very good at doing the 9-to-5 bullshit. You know what I mean? And as soon as I started just trying to be me, I started being happier at life. And he seems like a guy that's adapted that strategy. Like, exactly. I'm just going to do what I want to do.
Yeah, I know you're from New York, but have you heard of the Wedge?
Yes, of course.
So this is the biggest shore break surfing spot in South Orange County. It's world famous. 30 to 50 foot, I don't know about 50, but 30 foot waves shore break. It's known for people getting paralyzed, broken necks. I mean, we're not playing around here. And this guy is posting pictures in barrels on Facebook like it's nothing. I mean, it's incredible. Plus the pro truck race driving.
Yeah.
The MMA. He wasn't just an MMA fighter. He was successful.
Absolutely. 10-3 as a pro.
And you know what? Like, second to last fight, he freaking had the guy rocked and hit him with like 20 shots, and they didn't stop the fight, and he gassed. But I mean, he had a kind of I think a bullshit loss in there. So but he had a winning, successful record.
But everything he touches, he seems to excel at.
That's true.
And I think it's because he has such a love and a passion for it. You know what I mean? And he adopts that strategy like, I'm going to love it, I'm going to adopt that, and I'm going to fucking kill it. I'm going to make it my life. And I think that's really cool. And once I started doing research about him, I was like, dude, this guy's really cool.
Yeah, plus he's old school, the Huas Valley Tudo.
You can't help but love a guy who's in the street fights.
Yeah. So, and he's not afraid to say how he feels, and he brings the facts.
Yeah.
So that was really fun. What do you think, Adrian?
Potato.
Oh yeah, Adrian's.
I've been listening to the levels to make sure. So I've been listening to the interview, but you know.
And for those of you who don't know, Adrian was in the hospital earlier today, and he's on medication. So we're lucky he's even here.
Adrian is definitely the MVP of today.
But yeah, you know what you guys are saying. We're all correct. You know, it seems like he throws himself at anything, and anything he goes after, he goes. You know, I believe that if you excel at something, really, you know, you can excel at anything. So he definitely follows that motto.
But he's excelling at stuff that can kill you.
Yeah, well,
professional fighting, race car driving, surfing, and bodyboarding.
But if you think about it,
snowboarding,
bang hot Asian chicks.
I know. I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna report back next week on my progress. Actually, to be honest, I think I'm already headed towards the right direction, but I don't want to jinx it. But I'm gonna report back on my progress. Moving up.
Speaking for Adrian, I think I can safely speak for Adrian. We are both very proud of your progress. Very proud of your progress.
And thanks for not ratting me out about the name of the fighter, because that's kind of embarrassing. But
I would never.
But that was actually my best catch of recent times, and I pray to God she's not listening.
That fighter,
because that will be the last date, the one and only.
he gets a lot of hot chicks, so
let's just leave it at that. But it's happened before with like not good looking older guys who are married, and I was with this girl, and she goes, "Oh yeah, do you know so and so?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's one of my best buddies." Actually, that might have given it away, but I'm like, "No, I never heard of him." And she goes, "Yeah, I hooked up." She goes, "Yeah, I hooked up with him, but he was hooking up with other chicks, so I was over it." And I'm like, "Isn't he married?" And she's like, "What? He has a wife?" And I'm like, "No, never mind." But so yeah. Anyways, there's a lot of
kids.
Dude, don't talk about Bob Sapp like that, man.
Yeah, right.
Bob Sapp fan.
Yeah, right. I would never, ever, ever, ever name names, and I'm probably just making up that story anyway. But yeah. So, anyways, Erik Apple, incredible guest.
Goddamn, you
Clinch.
Optimus Prime.
We had Chael Sonnen. We had Erik Apple. We talked UFC 192. Switching gears, gentlemen. We have our beers of the week. We are gonna switch gears. We're gonna relax a little bit. First topic, Clinch. You turned 40 this weekend.
Yeah, I'm old.
Tell us about the drive to Las Vegas. What happened? The trip. What you ate. And I'll kind of ask questions in between to help fill in the details. Ladies and gentlemen, Clinch's 40th birthday in Vegas report.
Yeah, well, on the way out to Vegas, was my first birthday present was all the lights on my dashboard went on halfway out to Vegas, which was cool.
Awesome. That was like a birthday candles.
Yeah.
Right for the cake. Right.
That I couldn't blow out, no matter how hard I was like.
halfway drive to Vegas that happened.
Yeah, they didn't blow out.
Nice.
My wife, God bless her, she just sat there and like grabbed my hand and was quiet. She didn't say a word because she knew like if she said anything, I'd like bite her fucking head off.
But didn't you just pay to get your
$1,500?
And then your lights went on a few days later?
I'm not.
Did they Johnson rod you?
No, Johnson right up my asshole.
What do you know what it was? It was just probably a fuse.
No, well, the lights actually went off on the way to the podcast today. So. So,
your headlights too?
No, the warning lights.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's got to go back in the shop while I'm away. But my family met me at Hotel New York, which I will get to in a second.
How did you like that?
A few choice words about that place.
That place is freaking decent. How was it?
It's not alleged either.
How was it? If it's your opinion, it's your opinion. If you were there.
Now
that's a classy. That's the top of echelon.
I thought
you know what? I thought it would be. I thought it would.
You
be.
would be. What was wrong with it? I mean, yeah. Well,
you know what? First of all, my cousin kind of got screwed over with
How so?
With a slot machine. Like it took her ticket, and then the lady.
Your cousin is from upstate New York?
No, she's from Long Island.
Yeah, I don't trust her.
And no, it was true. It was true. It was there, standing right there.
They have cameras everywhere.
Oh yeah, and they ended up apologizing to her, but the lady like was real nasty to her. She was.
A Vegas casino worker didn't have a good attitude?
No, she had a bad attitude. So that was my first issue. My second issue was my toilet ran the entire time. So
what?
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. So
I mean, you must have had some bad luck. Who did you fuck over?
It was really loud, and we didn't get any sleep the first night or the second night. Second night they fixed it, and it still ran. So that kind of sucked.
You didn't have them upgrade you to a suite or change rooms?
Yeah, change rooms. Why didn't you ask them?
They didn't offer. We
fuck offering.
No, we said can we have a different room, and they said there were no more rooms available.
Okay, let me cut you off for a second. I got hired by one time by someone, actually Jason Ellis show, to go film in Vegas at the Hard Rock. We had this little tiny room, me and another guy. He got paid to be there with me. I took him on the trip. Jason Ellis fucking paid for the hotel. This guy got paid to be there, and we had a free hotel. There was some, it took him a while to help us check in and to get our bag. It took like half an hour, so we were pissed off. He calls, he goes, I'll take care of this. He's South American, and it's so shady. He calls and goes,
Brazilian? You can say Brazilian.
No, I don't think he is. But he's Spanish, though. He goes, hello? I'm here with Mr. True, and we are not happy. This is not acceptable. I will not accept this behavior. This is not acceptable. Makes such a scene. They're like, come to the front desk right now with your luggage. They gave us a fucking full suite with the open like patio into the pool, like a pool suite at the Hard Rock.
Nice.
So then he's like, you hungry? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, I'll take care of this. He picks up the phone and starts complaining that the whole room's bullshit, even the upgrade, this and this, and that he wants a free meal, gets a free steak. It was $100 credit. It gets worse and worse, like, to the point where I was like, dude, you need to stop. We are paid to be here. This is not under my name.
Taking advantage.
This is not cool.
Yeah.
And then I paid him to be an assistant to come on the trip. He winds up taking the master suite, puts me in the living room of the suite. You know, it's... Anyways, though.
So go on with the New York.
Yeah,
so the service was great. The bathroom didn't run.
Yeah, the bathroom ran.
And you changed rooms.
No.
What a dumbass.
So I will tell you this, though. They...
Priceline negotiator.
My mom and my dad... took my brother, my cousins, my wife, and I and my stepmom to a beautiful steakhouse in New York called Gallagher's, and the people at Gallagher's were awesome.
That was one of the best looking steaks. Every time I've talked to you, I think the last 5 days, all I talk about is that fucking steak.
Oh,
I can't stop thinking about it.
I can't say anything bad about it. No,
it was a New York. I'll let him tell, but you could see the juice, the moisture.
Yeah, it was an aged New York strip, so it was aged. For,
and were there
I think,
potatoes
2
in the
weeks.
picture and a glass of red wine? I think.
Yeah, it was.
Well, you got to see the photo. I can't
so
stop
good.
thinking about it.
It was so good.
Where can they see this photo, by the way?
I think it's on. I have it on Twitter and on my Facebook account, so you should see it there. I'll put it up again on the.
For
replay.
those of you who don't follow him, there you go. It's on the. It's
for
on
everybody
Twitter.
because nobody.
For
follows
those of you
me.
who don't know where to go, now you still don't know.
For the
where to
4
go.
people that follow me, you guys saw it.
We're half of them here.
Yeah, I know. I'm the one who commented sitting right here.
But I just it was a really, just to wrap it up. Besides the shitty hotel and everything else like that, my mom, my dad, and my brother really threw together a fucking awesome weekend, and it was really cool. And before the weekend, you guys sent me off with a really cool early birthday send off too, with the cupcakes and the
Singing telegram
from
Frankie Tropicana.
Frankie Tropicana.
He's a Frank Sinatra impersonator.
I tried to get to Frankie Tropicana tickets when we were in Vegas, but unfortunately, they blew up the hotel when he was in it, and
okay,
I don't know if he got out.
So meanwhile, you're in Vegas, you're driving through Barstow, the desert, don't have cell reception, just having to drive to Vegas, not knowing anything different than a normal day. You get to Vegas, all these texts start coming through. Next thing you know, our show's the fucking headline on every major website in the world. And it's you asking King Mo about the dick riding report of the week. So you go for your birthday weekend, you get to Vegas, first thing you see is, holy fuck, we're the top story on every website. How did you feel? Did you feel good getting some recognition? Because you're one of the hardest working guys I know, but you just haven't had an opportunity, like you said, you just had to get a chance to step up to the plate. You just needed a swing. How does it feel to finally get some recognition and see your work posted in so many spots?
It's crazy, Passion is something that I have for the business, and something that you have for the business. It's something that Adrian has for the business. It's something that's drawn us together as a team. And when I saw the headline, it wasn't something that personally I got any personal gain from. It was something that...
Didn't it make your dick hard a little bit?
It made my collective dick hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, intellectual.
It made me feel like, motherfucker, we have arrived, and if you are in our way, you better jump on board, because if you don't get on board, you're going to get run the fuck over.
Well, you've arrived. I'm already an established television star. Actually, you're on the current television show as well. Speaking of which, I got to email some people in Japan about a check I'm expecting from Fuji Television.
There you go.
Allegedly. Never mind. No. Yeah, allegedly.
You throw that word around pretty loosely.
And now that I'm listening to other shows, I've noticed an influence possibly where I'm hearing some other MMA shows say the word allegedly a hell of a lot now when they're giving their funny takes. Kind of coincidental. Either A, great minds think alike. B, greatest form of flattery is imitation. Or C, I'm actually copying them.
Some how do you say it?
Oh my God, Adrian's full potato from the pain meds he's on from the hospital. What the hell did you just say?
Nothing.
First of all,
you didn't drink the beer of the week, did you?
I drank a little bit.
Great minds.
Really fucked me up.
Do you have cotton balls in your mouth?
No.
Okay.
Great minds do not think alike. Great minds think uniquely, and flattery is the mother of all invention. I just made that fucker up, or whatever it is. Flattery is the best form of mimicry is the best form of flattery. That's
we're done with that statement. So, anyways, the point of the story is
I fucked that one up.
we went from Chael Sonnen and Erik Apple to Full Potato Radio. So, anyways, the moral of the story is we wished Clinch an incredible, successful, happy 40th birthday, another year of health and happiness and success, and he had a great trip with his family. Sometimes obviously, I'm sure we all bicker and argue with our family, but it's sometimes, to be honest, it is nice to see your family and get to spend some time away from home once in a while. So we're really happy for you and glad you had a great trip, I mean. Even though you got screwed on the hotel and your car lights went on. Whatever, you still had a great trip.
One of these days,
I'm just busting your balls, dude. Thank you to Clinch's family for showing him a great time.
You think your car ride was back? I think one of these days we'll actually play
the video.
The video of Aaron and I driving to San Diego when my car was breaking down.
This fool picks me up.
Did we tell that story yet?
We've told it so many different times, but he picks me up. His car is already smoke. He lives 5 miles from my house.
I wasn't smoking.
You had to open the hood and pour water into the engine, something into there, a water. We're about to drive 110 miles to San Diego to the Mexican border. His car's already fucking overheating, pouring water. He's gone 5 miles. I'm like, we're not gonna make it. He goes, oh yeah, no, we'll make it.
That's awesome.
So basically, the long story short, yeah, he's optimistic. We're in the fucking Lemon, which he just now says he has 2 cars. Coincidentally, that car is somehow back. But long story short, we went to go interview Cyborg, and the segment we filmed was not an interview with Cyborg. It was just us broken down, me trying to hide something under his seat when we were stopped by the Mexican border, and the car overheating. We were literally, people are honking, flicking us off. We're in the freeway going 10 miles per hour, and Adrian's like, we can make it another mile, dude. He goes, you got your stopwatch? We were literally like going in 5-minute increments, pulling over. He would dump water. We spent like $50 on water, and finally he just pulled. Yeah, finally he pulled over, and we had to get the car repaired, and we had to stop.
Clowns.
Yeah, what ended up happening is that we were driving, and the car would run fine as long as you put.
It's a piece of shit.
Well,
how many miles were? Excuse me, how many miles were on it?
Well,
and it was like 100 degrees out this day.
Let me answer one question at a time. So first of all, the reason why is because I should have put water in the car before I went to errands, and I didn't because I was in such a hurry because
he's running late and I'm texting him. But their car shouldn't need. He
had
2 cars. Why would you take that car?
Number 2,
potato head.
The car was at that point was really bad because I drove it for that short period of time without any water in the radiator, and so it made a hole in the radiator, so it ruined the whole trip.
And it had been stolen. The car had been stolen twice.
So the car, first of all, the car's been stolen twice. Okay?
How many miles were on it?
And the car has 450,000 miles on it.
How many of those 450 were stolen?
Probably like 5.
It gets better. So it's like a Civic DX, I think.
No, it's not. It's an EX.
That was not an EX. He's full of shit. It had the skinny little potato tailpipe and roll down windows. It was not a cloth seat, dude. It was not an EX.
It's an EX, but it's like a 1974 EX.
But so get it. So it's stock, completely stock. The guy,
it's not stock.
Someone stole the car.
Oh yeah.
They put like some carbon fiber dash, and then the cops found it.
I'll tell you the story. So, this actually happened.
So you got an upgrade.
So there's a couple things that happened. First of all, the gear would pop out of second gear. Right when I put in second gear, it would pop out. When I got the car back, they did upgrades. They put like a Indiglo dash.
That's baller.
Yeah, it's glow in the dark dash, right? And then they fixed the fucking transmission, so the second gear was not popping out.
Thank you. That was nice of them.
The only thing that they do is take the carpet from the trunk, so we don't know what they were doing.
Didn't they take your CDs or something, or your gym bag?
No, they didn't even take my CDs. That's what bummed me out. I was so pissed off because, like, dude, you're saying I don't have good taste in music. Like,
well, you saw someone stole Clay Guida's truck. Someone in Sacramento.
Yeah, I saw he posted online. In New Mexico, you mean?
Yeah, well, I think it was in Sacramento. Someone stole his truck.
More than likely in Sacramento.
And then he got it back. Today he got it back.
All right.
And it was like straight up like fucking like
was it stripped?
Yeah, just like the Big Lebowski. His post today was, dude got his truck back.
Oh my
Little bit damaged. No luck with the credence though, and his tape deck was ripped out of the fucking truck. But yeah, he got his truck back.
The first time it wasn't bad. The second time I got it back, they blew the engine.
Oh,
because they were revving it or whatever.
Do you have to pay for that?
Yeah,
insurance.
No. So the first time they stole it, it was already salvaged. So the second time I had to pay for all that. So we put. That's why I was telling Aaron. We put the car in a garage. And, we just had it there for a while. And then recently we put a brand new engine, brand new transmission. And the reason why is because that car is, we live in Long Beach. So I don't want to be driving my nice Mustang around. It gets dented up with the parking and whatnot.
Is it a salvage title, that one?
The Civic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So it's a salvage.
It'll never be worth anything.
It's a single owner salvage.
Yeah, it's a single owner salvage.
So no matter what, it'll never be worth anything.
Yeah. So all I did was put a kill switch on it finally, so it won't get, hopefully it won't get stolen again. But it's a good car that I could drive around, and I'll know I'll get another at least 400,000 miles on it.
How are you going to go 800,000 miles on that car?
It's a Honda.
There's a Honda. Yeah, there's cars that have million miles. Have you seen the Mercedes-Benz diesels?
I've had 3 Hondas. I'm on my 3rd one right now, and the guy told me when I was
You're
getting an oil
savage.
change, he goes, you can get 500,000 miles out of this. And I was like, because I'm like, oh man, 100,000 miles coming up. This car is done. He goes, dude, you can get at least 500,000.
Yeah, you can. You can
That's
drive.
crazy.
It'll be just a steering wheel, an engine, and 4 wheels, but everything else will be gone.
Well, I actually, unlike Adrian, I actually really do have an EX. So I have leather, power, navigation,
the Civic's
XM,
an
Bose
EX.
system. I have a V6,
I'll-
iTech
you know what? I'll post
engine,
pictures
dual
next.
exhaust.
I'll make a segment of
It's
the car.
interesting how my EX is a little
Well,
different.
first
though.
of all, he has an EX Accord. Mine's an EX Civic.
But
And
I had an LX and an EX Accord before this that were, yeah. I guess my EX didn't have cloth. The second Accord, you're right, it had cloth. Okay, fine.
I drive a Hugo.
And it was a V4 technically.
Believe it or not, that Civic has an SI motor in it. It's a VTEC. It's a VTEC motor. The reason why I know is because it was fucking impossible to find a new engine, and it was because it's the engine that most people want for racing, right? For that
For those
So-
race burn
Yeah.
cars, yeah.
Okay, well, a couple last few things here before we get going. The prison guard in John's hometown, she was
My
sentenced.
hometown.
Upstate New York, your hometown, Clinton, New York, right?
That's a whole half of the state. That's
Babylon,
like
Long Island.
I thought you were from upstate New York, from the cow country, from the Hicks, I thought. No?
From Long Island, New York, clown.
I thought
went
you
to
were from
college in
the-
upstate New York. Though.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, so anyway, she got sentenced to 2 3/4 up to 7 years in prison. She's gonna do a lot of time for this.
Well, that's good though.
Yeah,
'Cause
it
now
is.
she gets to be with her boyfriend.
I don't think she's gonna get any conjugal visits, and they killed the other one.
Yeah, they don't have.
One of them got
they don't
killed
have
in
co-ed jails. It's
She
all
either
females.
gets to be with her husband, who works in the prison shop, or she gets to be with what's his name, who's going to be working back in the prison shop again.
Oh, I think he's in a new jail.
Oh
But-
yeah, that's right. Damn it!
Yeah. So we already had Donald Trump endorsed by Chael Sonnen.
You thought
I think that. Let's see here. I think we've pretty much done everything we want to do on this episode, for the most part. Let's
oh
see
no,
here.
where are we at? We got to do this.
I know, but do you want to do strain of the week this week, or do you want to skip it?
Yeah, we got to do it.
Okay, we were actually going to have a guy named Kyle Cushman on today to talk about medical marijuana and how it affects muscle recovery, and did Nick Diaz really cheat? Is marijuana a performance-enhancing drug? We had some communication problems, so
Well-
we're going to have him on in a couple of weeks to talk about it.
Did you real
But so
quick?
you're
Did
going
you
to do
see
your strain of the week.
Did you see the Jeff Nowitzki?
Finally, this guy gives me a close-up after I interview freaking 2 people, 2 big stories. Doesn't give me one close-up on if you're watching on YouTube.
But he waited for you to look perfect because you do look perfect.
No, he waits
now.
till freaking medical marijuana strain of the week, then gives me a close-up.
Did you? By the way, did either
Look
one
at
of
him.
you?
Look at it.
Look at that
He's
potato
off camera,
look.
so you can't see this guy.
Potato face.
He's freaking the biggest smart-ass potato head right now in the world. Look at this guy.
Shelby Cobra.
No one can see him. He's just off camera. And I told people.
He knows you. He knows
I tell people who watch the show, they're like, "There's only 2 of you," and I go, "No. Adrian sets up the camera because he's the video producer for it. He purposely makes it where he can pop in and out of the show when he wants to. He controls when he's on air, when he's involved in the show." If he doesn't want you to see him or be involved, look at it. You can see
It's
him lean.
by design,
Yeah,
of
like if
course.
you're watching right here on
Oh.
YouTube, to talk he has to lean into frame, so he knows exactly where he has to be in camera or off camera, and then leaves us out to dry.
I've got to like. There's a couple of shit I gotta do.
And here he is popping in if you're watching online.
If you think it's accidental, I am here to correct you. That is one calculated.
I always have to
right
wait
there.
for him to say something when I show people a video because I'm like, there's 3 of us. Hold on, you got to see he pops in, and I got to wait for him to pop in. I was showing someone the other night. I think I was showing someone at work. So.
but did you see the Jeff Nowitzki interview where he said that?
And the UFC is backing Nick Diaz now.
yeah. Well,
They're helping the legal counsel.
Yeah,
I'm rooting for Nick because this is just so stupid. I don't even care what drugs people take, to be honest. I really don't. I just want to see good fighters fight. It's out of competition. Yeah, he thumbed his nose at the commission, but who cares? Well, they're saying he thumbed his nose by being a 3rd-time offender and not respecting them. But she had such a vendetta. Someone just did a point-by-point piece where it has the Mayweather trial versus the Diaz trial.
Yep.
That's disgusting.
the Jeff Nowitzki interview that Josh Salmon, I think fighter Josh Salmon did for Bloody Elbow, basically Nowitzki, who is a drug testing expert.
The UFC drug czar.
Yeah.
Vice president of something.
Came out and said that number for the second test, for the Quest diagnostic test, is basically, he said it's ridiculous.
It's not possible.
He said it's fucking ridiculous.
It's not possible.
And
you liking my in-frame?
No, I'm laughing because someone just sent me a thing online about Craigslist no arms blowjob, and it's a woman with no arms.
And
I'm sure you can guess who it is. It's a Las Vegas ad.
And it makes a statement. It makes a statement when you have an expert like that
God.
saying that the athletic commission is choosing a ridiculous number over two numbers that are legitimate. So they're not basing their decision on proper knowledge. They're basing their decision based on attitude. So it's bound to be overturned, just like Chael said. It's bound to be overturned. It's probably going to be in. You know what? I'm going to go on the record right now. I'm going to say by the time I get back from New York, this will already be in the court system. And I would say that Nick Diaz will be fighting by the end of this year.
He goes out on a huge limb. Yeah. Knowing full well that they have 30 days to file this and get it into court. Clinch goes out on a limb.
Oh, I swear to God, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't. I swear on my life.
I know. I'm busting your chops. So anyways, I just got breaking news. I was sent an ad online.
Hold on. Can we do the stream real quick?
Okay.
I want to make sure the camera gets it before it dies out.
Switch to a close-up so people on YouTube can see.
Okay. Strain.
So what do we have today, John?
Strain of the week.
Oh wow, it's crack.
Yeah,
well, it's GC, otherwise known as green crack. I believe this is a sativa.
I actually switched it up this time. I wanted to get something for daytime because I've been having a lot of pain in the daytime, and I wanted to get something that wasn't going to affect my writing during the daytime. So
good. So you're going to try this then and see if it's more. Because I know, like, I'm big into the study of it, even though I don't partake. I'm big into studying, and I know that sativas, and especially that strain in particular, is known for causing a cerebral effect, as opposed to a couch lock for the other ones you use, which are for just strictly pain and put you out. Yeah,
this one, my buddy Maj over at VMC, he recommended it to me because I told him that I'm having issues during the day when I'm writing, that some of the other strains are kind of making me sort of lethargic. Yeah.
Good for you for switching.
Not lazy, but lethargic, and I'm kind of having a hard time. I'm getting writer's block and stuff like that. So,
well, you know, like Eddie Bravo, jiu-jitsu guy, he loves Jack Herr, which is a sativa. Joe Rogan likes Trainwreck at one point, was a Trainwreck guy. So I think Nick Diaz, I don't know if he's sativa. I have no idea about him, but Joe Rogan and Eddie Bravo, they're huge proponents of sativas.
Yeah, and I'm willing to try it. I don't know a lot about the stuff, so I'm learning as I go. You know what I mean? And the injury's kind of new to me, so I'm willing to try anything as long as I just don't want to take those fucking pills that they give me because they're horrible. They just really they make your life shit. So this stuff is so much better. But yeah, green crack. It's like you said, it's a sativa. It's supposed to. I tried it a little bit before.
It's too much light on the camera. That's why. Here, put it to me and do the thing.
It's it's got a really good taste. It kind of has like a banana-ish flavor to it. When I breathe it through my nose, it doesn't burn like the indicas do, and it doesn't really hit you behind the eyes. It kind of takes a second to take effect. When I came back inside, it kind of hit me. But I like the effect. It's very subtle, but it's a longer lasting one. I'm gonna try this one for a while. I think I like it. On a scale 1 to 10, I would say as far as potency, it would be about compared to the indicas, it's not as potent. But overall, I really enjoy it. So I would say it's like an 8.8.
Okay, speaking of an 8.8, I think I've got a 10 out of 10 in terms of experience. We were just sent this article by someone. In Las Vegas, Nevada, right now, there's a woman offering on Craigslist a no-arms blowjob. Can you see my screen here if you want to take a peek at this lady?
Oh, Jesus.
It's it's a lady with no arms. It's a heavy-set woman. She's, I think, looks African-American, and she has no arms, and here's the ad.
I personally prefer them without teeth. I don't know about no arms.
Well, it says here, and the person who sent me this is listening and wants me to read it online. Yes, I have no arms, and I use my mic or feet to type. Looking to give BJs. I host only. No games. Oh, you have to pay? No games. 50 for a wet blowjob. Grab the back of my head and blank my mouth. Guys that are serious and ready, reply only. That's right.
Wow.
I have no arms, and I use my feet to type. Holy crap, she does have no arms.
You know what?
So, ladies and gentlemen, the two of you, would you take a no arms BJ, a no arms blowjob?
I don't have anything against it. I have no problem with that.
I am absolutely mortified right now.
I don't discriminate against people with disabilities especially, and I think anyone that overcomes anything like that is a total warrior and a hero. That being said,
Don't get me
I
wrong.
would have before an hour ago, I would have done it. Now after Erik Apple telling me that I need to have confidence to go after better women, no arms blowjob, hour ago, yeah. Now I can't do it.
I would do just for the story. I mean, it's got to be legendary. I mean, just like, you know, having no teeth, right? Like a gummy head, it's got to be the best head, right?
I'm just in the middle of a shock and awe campaign, and I
think the person who sent it is in shock that we're reading it because they're laughing, they're typing right now, watching. So yeah, that was thank you so much for your contribution to the show. That was a no arms blowjob. So we just had the medical marijuana segment of the week, and now going to another sponsor segment. Following what could follow a no arms blowjob for when corporate people click on the link. What do they want to hear right after that? They want to hear a sponsor, a product thing. Can you hit me with a close up? I think it should be in focus, Adrian. Last thing, we've got our custom coffee mugs here, the Bruliana Show. We get these made by our friends at Edwards Industries. I love these mugs. They do corporate events. They do parties. Anything you want. You have a man cave. They can make your personalized products. We have custom beer mugs that will be here officially for the show next week. Thanks again to our friends. You can follow them on Twitter. Edwards, INDUS. Maybe T. It's like Indust, but not Industries. That's right. Tell them Aaron True sent you. They'll treat you right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get going here. We've been going for about an hour and 35 minutes. We had a great show tonight. We had the American gangster, Chael Sonnen, endorsing Donald Trump, talking about Nick Diaz, John Jones, talking about Gustafson, DC, his own personal life, so much stuff. Also talking about the fact that there's a certain senator in Oregon who better be watching out. He's coming for that seat.
Yep.
So we talked to also Erik Apple. Oh my God, what an entertaining guy! Erik Apple turned out to be a pretty big competition for Chael in terms of guest of the night. I mean, you can't really beat Chael in terms of name value. That's probably the biggest guest we'll ever have, other than Nick Jonas from the hit show Kingdom.
Yeah,
Nick,
but Chael's married with a kid now. I want to hang out with Erik.
Oh man, yeah, Erik's I think probably a pretty fun guy to hang out with. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we have Adrian also who wants to chime in.
I just wanted to. Are we done with the show? Are we gonna?
Yeah.
Go? Okay. Yeah. So just one last thing. This Friday I'll be at Bama. I believe it's 17 at the Commerce Casino. I'll be doing photography there. It's a good card. I don't remember who the headline is, but Bama always puts on great cards. A lot of those guys end up in the UFC. So if you're looking for local MMA, please show up or support.
Is that at the Commerce Casino?
Yeah, the Commerce Casino in California, Southern California.
Yeah, Brett Roberts puts on some really fun fights. They've actually had quite a few people go to the UFC after being successful in their promotion. Yeah, I think Chris Bill is one of them.
Yep.
Chris Bill? Yeah, there's a couple of guys that have
They had didn't even Jared Papazane fight there once?
Yeah,
Jared Papazane.
And I think they had
Terry
not Jessamine
Ware.
Duke, but they've had some females I think that made it to the big stage as well.
Yeah, they have a lot of good guys. Kevin Bostic, I think, is on that card
R2 Invicta. They had women who made it to Invicta for sure, maybe even possibly UFC.
Yeah,
all right, so shout out to Brett Roberts. Who's the headliner?
Kevin Bostic, I think, is the headliner on that card.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, yeah. So you can catch Adrian taking photos cage side.
Oh, he's fighting Chris Saunders. That's actually a really good fight.
Chris Saunders versus Kevin Bostic. That's a great headline. You know, I mean, Chris Saunders is a legend. He used to fought in Tough, and he's another guy who's from the local circuit. So.
All right, well, that's where you can catch Adrian. Once again, thanks for listening. Please watch the replays on YouTube, or if you can't catch the video replay, either for bandwidth reasons, data reasons, just can't physically, or you can't watch. Do yourself a favor, iTunes and SoundCloud. If you download the podcast, our incredible audio, you plug it in your car, you'll enjoy your car ride. Honestly, since we get caught up in the moment, sometimes I always listen back to the show, just not even the interviews, but our banter, and that's my favorite part of the show.
Yeah, it's fun.
And because you don't realize some of the stuff that you say or excuse me, I don't realize the stuff you guys say at the time, and I actually learn when I go back and listen. So please go ahead, check us out. We're taking 1 week off next week while Clinch is in New York. We'll be back the following week. We have 14 or 15 episodes for you guys to catch up on. SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube. Catch up the next week. We're going to be back even stronger than ever with some huge announcements. Beer of the week, gun of the week, huge name guest, porn stars, professional athletes. You name it, we got it. Comedy, politics. Oh, yeah, and then because we always have to mention him every show, the last thing, for reals, Bill Cosby. And we're not going to do a story, but just mention because it's our good luck charm. His bad luck is our good luck every time. He just got his degrees taken away. I don't even think he's a doctor anymore. He's getting like every degree taken away. Really quick, because this is my wrap up.
Yes, by the way, Bill Cosby got brought up at my birthday dinner. That's I just had to say.
Did they hear the phone calls ever?
I told my mom, I said, Mom, Bill Cosby's been, the fourth member of every one of our podcasts. That's and hilarious. she said, did you tell him? Did you tell the guys?
Oh my God!
And I was like, absolutely, I told him.
Shit.
She said,
absolutely, I told him.
She said, he's a dick. And she's like,
can your mom call in the show and talk about this sometime?
No. My mom's a real private.
Well, no, Bronco will call in and we'll treat her right.
No, no. My mom's
man. You a liar.
My
That's
mom's
some bullshit.
My mom's an old school lady, but she did tell the story.
I need your mom versus Bronco on air.
And she did tell me the story, and the way the story went, she asked Bill Cosby for an autograph when she was getting off of work, coming off the plane that my mom was a stewardess on, and he said, "Why don't we go get a drink and we'll talk about it?"
Oh, she should have gone. That's nice.
And he was like, my mom said, "I can't. Unfortunately, I have to. I'm still working. I have to go get work." And he said, "Well, then I can't give you an autograph."
Oh, your mom. That would
and
been
my
nice.
mom and my mom just kind of walked away from him. She didn't say anything like that.
She would have had a great time.
But, however, when my mom went back to at the meeting that night, her boss admonished her and said Bill Cosby had said that you were bothering him for an autograph or something like that. And she wasn't bothering him. She had just mentioned it to him. And he didn't mention the fact that he had made her an offer to go get a drink.
So you were almost half Cosby.
Yeah, fuck you. I was already born, asshole.
One last thing about Bill Cosby. Did you hear what I think it was Kenan Thompson, what he said about Bill Cosby? I don't know if you guys know who that is. He's a guy in Saturday Night Live, the black guy in Saturday Night Live. Yeah, so basically he said that at some point Bill Cosby told him you need two dicks to fend off all the groupies. Because supposedly, that's, because he's so popular, he's going to have so much pussy, right? Have you guys heard of that?
No, but one thing I did hear is, God, it wasn't Tommy Davidson. I can't believe I can't remember the name. Marlon Wayans, maybe. I forget who it was, but Bill Cosby told one comedian, stop using the N-word. It makes you sound bad. Yeah. And he said, well, when I say the N-word, people don't wake up having just been raped, do they?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I think it was Marlon. I don't want to get the name wrong.
No, actually, one of the Wayans brothers actually supported Bill Cosby recently in an interview. So I'm not sure if it was one of the Wayans brothers.
Oh, it was maybe David Allen. I don't know who it was. It was a black comedian.
To quote Dennis Miller, Bill Cosby giving life advice.
It was Nick Cannon even, maybe. I don't know who it was.
Bill Cosby giving life advice, to quote Dennis Miller. The only balls that big should be chasing Indiana Jones through a fucking tunnel.
and with that, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Brutally Honest Show.